Here we are at East Harbor State Park in northern Ohio. East Harbor State Park is POTA number US-1949. My local radio club, the Sandusky Radio Experimental League, call sign Whiskey 8 Lima Bravo Zulu, will activate this park on Saturday, September 7th, 2024, for the yearly event of Ohio State Parks on the Air. This is the beach area. Just over the hill here is Lake Erie. That's Lake Erie out there. And later in the summer, there'll be all kinds of boats anchored here and people swimming. From here in East Harbor State Park, we can see on the horizon South Bass Island. And on that island is Perry's Monument, which commemorates the Battle of Lake Erie in the War of 1812. Now that's actually a national park, and that's US number 0787. The monument is 352 feet high. You can take an elevator up to the observation platform. Our radio club has activated that island and many others here in Lake Erie. In the harbor of South Bass Island is another island called Gibraltar Island, which our club has also activated. Many of these islands have lighthouses on them, and our club has activated the islands during Lighthouse on the Air events. I thought that this park would be the perfect place to show you some of the Parks on the Air equipment manufactured by Amratech. They introduced these products at the Hamvention 2024. Here's the basic tripod made by Amratech. This one has 1 foot long legs, and it comes with anchor pins that insert in the holes there in the ends of the legs. Here's the Amratech tripod with the 18-inch legs. It's the same hub, and here the anchor pins are inserted to show you how they go. In fairly firm soil, they only need to be put in a few inches. And here's the Amratech tripod with the 24-inch legs. And this would be the most stable version. And you might want the 24-inch legs if the ground is frozen and you can't insert the anchor pins, or if the ground is very loose and sandy, where the anchor pins won't hold as good. Having the longer legs will make things more stable. So the same hub will accept any of the 3 leg lengths, and from Amratech you can buy the tripod with any length legs, and you can buy different length legs separately. The hub of the Amratech tripods is 1/8 inch thick stainless steel. And let me show you how the legs go on and off. There's tabs here that the legs slide onto. And then also notice these D-shaped holes. These are made specifically for alligator clips for your ground screen or radials. They will hold very well when put in there like that. So it's easy to assemble. The legs just slide on like that, and then the pin here just drops right into the hole, and connect your coax whichever way you want, and then put in your anchor pins, screw in your antenna right there, and you're ready to go. Now I suggest that you connect the coax before you pin the tripod with the anchor pins. It's easy to bugger up a coax connector if you are jamming it in at an angle instead of being perpendicular. So just connect it, put it down, and then put the pins in the legs. Now there's an accessory available, which is a right angle coax connector. And you can just put this on and leave it on, and then you're plugging in your coax from the side like this, and that's much easier. And a third option is a pigtail. This has a right angle male connector here, and then a female connector here for your coax. And for me, this is the easiest way to do it. So I'm old and don't like to bend down too far, so I just leave the pigtail on here permanently. One of the advantages of having different length legs available is that you can assemble your tripod using 2 longer legs and 1 shorter leg. You can do this when you must operate on sloped ground, such as on the side of this hill. In this way, you can keep your vertical. After your hub is set up, you need to connect it to some sort of counterpoise. I like to use the Faraday fabric. It's a little windy today. You can see it moving around, so I always carry weights with me to hold down the corners. So now the tripod does not have to be in the middle of your ground screen. That has no effect at all. Being off to the side works just fine. So now we're ready to screw in the whip. This is a typical telescoping whip that you can get from many sources, and it'll just screw right into the tripod. Now you see this tape here. This particular section is worn out and keeps collapsing, so I had to tape it in order to hold it in place. And that's one of the problems with these kinds of whips, is that they do wear out, and sometimes they'll even break. Now here's a a whip that I got on eBay. They advertised a standard 3/8 inch connection here. And however, this is a 3/8 by 16 thread. That means 16 threads per inch. And the standard is 3/8 -24, which stands for 24 threads per inch. So this cannot be mounted on any standard tripod for amateur work. So you got to be careful with these kind of things. This is the aluminum telescoping whip made by Amritech. They call it the Easy Stinger. So each section of this has a set screw. So this is the way it extends. And collapses. Now, on each section there's a mark when you're 5 inches from the end. Right there it is. So that's 40 inches at that point, which is close to a meter. So in the instruction manual, it tells you where to set each length for each of the amateur bands. And it's done in such a way that your tuning is then done at the bottom section. So when we're screwed into the base, it'll be a little higher. So, but still, when you extend it for the various bands, the tuning then for the exact frequency is on the lowest section. So you're always standing on the ground. You don't have to be up on a ladder or do this with it laying on the ground. So it's easy to tune for any particular frequency on any particular band. And it'll go over 17 feet high, so it'll be a quarter wave at 20 meters, and fully collapsed, it'll cover 6 meters. Six meters would be about there. So in the case of 6 meters, you would be tuning this section here. So it's a sturdy whip, and if it did get damaged in some way, each section is replaceable. So I think it's a pretty slick whip. So the Easy Stinger whip made by Amritech will cover 6 meters to 20 meters. And then it's common practice to add a loading coil to the base of a vertical in order to lower the frequency range that it can cover. And Amritech makes 2 of these loading coils. This one covers 40 and 30 meters, and this one covers the 80 meter band. Now the inductance of the Amritech coils varies by moving this slider here. By the way, they call this the Easy Slider coil. And there's a coil inside here and a coil on the outside, and it's the mutual coupling between those coils that vary the inductance. The coil includes a laser etched calibration scale that allows you to, when you find the frequency that you want to operate on, you can write down the number and return to that frequency again in the future. So there's no sliding contacts like on some other coils, and these coils are fully copper. A lot of other coils use stainless steel windings, which are much higher in resistance and present a lot of losses. So this not only acts as a loading coil, this clip on the bottom can be connected to the base of the tripod, and then this acts as a matching network. There's a capacitor inside here, and then this becomes a variable inductor, and the matching network can achieve even lower SWRs. Now the loading coil is just simply screwed into the tripod, the same place where the whip would have screwed in. And then the whip simply screws into the top of the loading coil. So configured with the clip on the stud that sticks out the bottom of the coil, this acts just like a normal loading coil. But if we connect the clip to the hub of the tripod, now we have a matching network, and we can achieve a much lower SWR in case your rig doesn't have a tuner. Here's a comparison of SWR curves with the easy slider coil connected as a loading coil, and when it's connected as a matching network. And we can, both these are assuming you have an adequate counterpoise, which in this case was a ground screen. And here we have a minimum SWR 1.7 near the middle of the band, and it's fairly wide bandwidth. Then when we connect that alligator clip on the bottom of the coil to the base of the tripod, we can see we get a much narrower bandwidth, but a much deeper curve. So the SWR goes down to 1.12. Now on 40 meters, here's similar results. We have a fairly shallow SWR curve here, and near the middle of the band we're 1.67 as a loading coil. But when we connect as a matching network, we get an SWR down to 1.14. So you can see how the matching network feature of the easy slider coils gives you very nice SWRs. By the way, when using a loading coil, your stinger or whip needs to be at the full length or 20 meter position. When you have your coil set up as a matching network, depending on what counterpoise you're using, you can have a pretty sharp curve. So sometimes you'll get close by moving the slider on the coil, but don't forget you can move a little bit by adjusting the length of your whip. So sometimes this is a little easier than trying to get right in the null using the slider on the coil. Well, there you have it. I think this equipment made by Amratech Products is perfectly suitable for portable operation. It's rugged and practical and will last a long time. Now, full disclosure, I happen to know the folks at Amratech. In fact, I helped them develop these loading coils. So I hope if you got anything out of this video, you'll like and subscribe.